This series of short YouTube videos are centered on working with heritage knowledge on action learning pathways to more sustainable lifestyles. And here we're looking at handprint care heritage gardening, which was inspired by Indigenous scholars like Tich Pesenai before his untimely death, and also Sol Shava, who has done a lot of work in this area. And what we did working with Wilma van Staden is developed animated process graphics to clarify the inclusion of heritage practices and learner-led handprint actions towards more just and sustainable lifestyles. And the question we posed is, how do we include heritage food gardening in ESD pedagogy and assessment practices in school subject teaching? And in this overview, we take the Fundisa for Change approach of introducing heritage around knowledge, pedagogy, and assessment practices. And here we start off on cultural heritage and history. We then move to working with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, looking at expanding pedagogy and deepening subject pedagogy, before looking at composting, rainwater harvesting, growing greens and planting trees, and then on to inclusive assessment processes. For each of the short video, what we do is we pose a question, like the first video that will follow this on heritage and history. How can heritage and history inform action learning innovations? And then onto the SDGs. How does using the SDG wheel enhance our grasp of complex concerns? And how do we expand and deepen subject pedagogy? How can heritage-informed food security and health innovation? And onto assessment. Is there a place for conventional assessment? How is competence assessment included in our work? How do we assess significant learning? Now, around the idea of a heritage garden and developing a heritage garden, the four things that come up are composting, recycling organic waste, izala in Ututu, and that is reflected in the video number 5. Then rainwater capture using the Ukuglesha history. And then in number 7, growing greens, imifino. And finally, planting trees with mycorrhizal. So this series is centered on very practical handprint care approaches that are ethics-led action learning to enhance learner experience and learner engagement in heritage and sustainable lifestyles.